Alright, everybody. I have two big things on the agenda for today's episode. The first of which, or at least one of which, it might not come first, you might be able to guess from what I have behind me. Because we are back in that lab from just a couple of episodes ago. Although I have to admit, I did kind of forget that it's still not completely decorated. I still have, like, all of this space that needs to be decorated out, plus the elevator that should probably actually be made at some point, but that's a problem for future Moth. Current Moth has been working on some dinosaur things. That's right, I've been doing Unusual Prehistory, and I mean, in general, I've kind of had these analyzers going in the background for pretty much since I set these up to begin with. But I have kind of just been collecting the DNA flasks from it. I have not been throwing them into the cultivator before now, but that is what I've been working on. And you can kind of see I do have some plants made up, as well as some embryos, which we can't actually bring back yet, as we need to make an incubator for these, and we don't have the materials for that, and we won't have the materials for that until we've gone ahead and hatched some of those guys there, which I'll get to later. But things I do have that we can put out, I have Triceratops. I think we all know what a Triceratops is. I have Ammonites, which I guess are slightly of a more unusual creature. They are, I guess, kind of a shelled squid. They're very cute. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if the Nautilus, yes, I believe they're related to the Nautilus. They look very visually similar to the Nautilus. Very fun. And then I have these Kentrosaurus eggs that are done. I don't know what a Kentrosaurus is, actually. So we'll probably start with a Triceratops for our first exhibit. I'm debating on what I want to do with the Ammonites, because I do have this pond, and if you remember from the end of our last episode, I mentioned the other thing that I wanted to do today, and that is decorate this pond and put some fish in it. I don't know if I want to put the Ammonite in there, or if I want to put in some other fish, and I do have quite a few other fish, and in general, mobs built up in here. You see these relucent eggs. I mean, they're added by unusual fish, so I think I can say with relative confidence they are, in fact, fish, alongside these crimson eggs. I also have these lily tads and mini pads, which are these nice little creatures from the swamp. They kind of float. And I have a couple of other fish. I have a slab fish, and this blind... This is a very good question, because none of these fish are actually... or at least the fish that I know what they look like. I don't think they'd be good options for this pond. Those fish eggs, I'm not sure. I'll have to go and search what those fish actually are. But here we have some... I'm gonna pronounce it. Believe in me. Codylor hyoncus. I think I've actually said this in a previous episode because it sounds very familiar, that is. I have those, and I have these encrusted sacs. Now, these encrusted sacs are what we need to make an incubator, or rather, the mobs that hatch from them are what we need to make an incubator. These horrible little mosquito guys hatch from these fellows, and they drop some kind of organ, and that organ is what we use to make the item that lets us bring back live birth mobs, not mods. So, while I might not know exactly... Ooh, that doesn't go there. Well, I might not know, rather, exactly what mobs I would like to put in my pond and my first exhibit yet. I do think a good start is going to be hatching some of these guys and killing them for their organs, as you do. So, I think I'm going to start working on the pond, and just kind of let some of these continue to go while I do that. And what I can do is, first of all, store all this in here. That's a good start. Next, what I can do is I can grab some dirt. And I can grab... Right? Hold on. There we go. I know what I'm doing. Don't even worry about it. Okay, I can't grab it. I'm gonna have to make some glass bottles. And I'm gonna kind of start mudding up the bottom of that pond, and I'll just pop these sacks down to, you know, do their hatching thing while I do a little bit of terraforming, because, I mean, to be honest, the bottom of this pond looks gross. I mean, it's sand, it's gravel, it's whatever that stuff is. Salt. That sounds mildly useful. So while I do that, let's just put one of these guys right there. Actually, let's just put 3 of them there. We'll keep one of them just to be safe. And do a little bit of fixing here. That scared the shit out of me. God. Okay, 1 stage away from hatching. Okay, everything has been replaced with dirt now. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some of it mud. Alright, so I've done all of the texturing, and they still haven't hatched, but they're probably going to pretty much any second now. I do want to come back in and make some more of those, like, the dirt brick slabs. Maybe I'll see if there's, like, some equivalent for mud. There we go! Oh gosh. Ouch. You're a little bastard. You hurt. There we go. Alright, this encrusted organ is what we needed for the incubator for live birth animals. Now we definitely have that. I'm very scared that these 2 are going to hatch at once. Fighting, they hurt a lot more than I remembered them hurting, I'm going to be honest. Okay. Well, I'm gonna make up like some slabs and stuff, and maybe come back in with some rocks and put a couple of rocks in here, and then we're gonna see about getting in some plant life, and then we're gonna move on to the fish. Don't go anywhere. I know somewhere there are giant lily pads, and I kind of would really like them, but I don't know where I would get them. they're added by environmental. Let's see if we can look or use our nature's compass. Sort by. Well, I went right past it. Source. Environmental. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, so let's just sort by source and scroll. So a marsh should be a good bet to find those giant lily pads. And that seems like it would be our only bet out of the environmental ones, actually, so with the exception of possibly the blossoms, but I think these blossom woods and valleys might be that same one in the background. So let's put that as a little adventure for later, because I would really like to get some giant lily pads to put in the pond. I don't know. I know the fact that you can stand on lily pads in Minecraft is a bit fantastical, but oh boy, I really wish you could in real life too. Excellent. Only one more to go. Look at that! How cute is this? It's very cute, is what the answer to that question is. Oh, this looks lovely. I'm thinking maybe like a tiny little park kind of area back here, some of that coarse dirt pathing I have going on, and some benches and maybe a custom tree kind of right here. Yeah, I think that will work very nicely. Alright, so I have been on a little bit of an adventure, and I've also done a little bit of building off camera, as you can kind of clearly see here. I did go ahead and make that path I've been talking about, kind of on and around here, and then I put in a little bench, and I built us a new little custom tree. Most of our plant life so far has been that kind of, I think that's wisteria wood? Willow wood, with the azalea leaves, but now I've kind of gone for a little bit of an opposite color scheme with a darker spruce log, and some slightly brighter mangrove to the quark rainbow leaves in the purple, to make this kind of little wisteria tree. In the context of our little settlement here, I imagine that, well, these trees are the local wildlife that they're kind of encouraging to continue to develop and grow around. You know, they do occasionally bring in more decorative trees from other areas of the world that, you know, can thrive in this environment, and this might be one such tree. So, as I said, I also went adventuring, and okay, some fish have decided already to live here, I suppose. But for some additional inhabitants, I've gone ahead and picked up a couple of different options. A lot of these, I'll admit, are ocean fish, but given the fact that some of them aren't real, I think we could be permitted to bend the rules a little bit. I definitely want to put in these picklefish here. And I am going to go ahead and rename these just to be 100% certain they don't respawn. And I kind of want to put in some shrimp. We can pretend they're crawfish or something like that on the bottom of the pond. And I'm mixed on if I want to put in these copper flames. They're really pretty, they kind of glow a little bit, especially with these shaders on. I don't know if they're too special for that pond, that kind of sad as that sounds. I'm not going to be very creative with these, please forgive me. So we're definitely going to put in the picklefish, and we're definitely going to put in the shrimp. I think perhaps one kind of showfish to go along with the ones that did naturally spawn them, on the off chance that they do stick around. We'll go with this other Fish and Thieves one that's got kind of special coloring, I think, from the normal splash tails. Let's go ahead and put our new buddies in the pond. There we go. There we go, and then I also have our lily tads. I'm a little worried that they might run around and escape, but I think they'll be drawn back to the water, so I don't think they'll go too far. So I'm okay with putting them in, I think. There we go. Maybe I should have renamed those guys too, but I can come back in with name tags to rename them. And in fact, I think I will after I sleep. Alright, I have some name tags with some rather silly names, but I'm okay with that. So we're gonna have the big guys be Larry and Jerry, and we're gonna have our little guys, if I can... There they are, right over here. We're gonna have them be Todd and Ted. Perfect. And they do seem, so far at least, to be very content to stay right here in their little pond, so I'm very happy with that. I do know that we can come in, I think, with shears. I don't know if they're quite grown yet. And pluck their little flowers from them, and they'll regrow. They'll be fine. They'll be happy little guys still, don't worry. Is it... Oh, from the little ones? Okay. Oh, I think from both of them, maybe. Yeah. And I'm fairly certain they do regrow. I will leave one of each just to be safe. We're gonna experiment a little bit. But... Oh, so I can eat that. And I think I can craft this into a flower crown. Can I plant either of them? Doesn't seem like it. Okay, so that's a very good food source, because you can eat that even when you're full. And what can I do with the mini pad? There you go, you can make a flower crown. Very cute. Now, today is going to be a little bit of custom tree day, I guess, since we have our new decorative tree. I also want another native tree for this kind of little bit of a custom biome, I guess we're making at this point, around our builds. So I went and did a little bit of exploring and got a couple of new woods. I want to go with the unstripped look this time, with the kind of greater contrast in the palette. So I got those two options, and I already had the birch and aspen, but I ran out of aspen saplings. So I went and grabbed more of those. And between these options, I'm definitely leaning more towards the birch combo, I think. I did also do a little bit of terraforming up here for our first habitat, our first dinosaur habitat. And I'm going to be kind of building up a wall around this area to keep them in, because dinosaurs can be a little dangerous. But it'll be nice, and I want to have those custom trees, because I'd like to put one right here and maybe one or two in the back, the very back areas of this habitat. I will also have a building right here, or possibly right here, I haven't quite decided yet, that will act as a kind of backstaging area for taking care of the dinosaurs here, and probably in an adjacent enclosure. So the first dinosaurs we're going to be hatching, if I can find them in here. Here they are. Are the I'm not even going to try right now. Okay, you can read the name. I'll leave it there on screen for a moment. But I want to work towards making ourselves a meaty buffet, because this is going to be needed to tame one of the very carnivorous, dangerous mobs from Unusual Prehistory, and I want to do that at some point, so it might be a nice idea to start with the mobs that we'll need to make the dish to do that. And a nice big herbivore feels like it'll be a fun start to making our exhibits. Alright everybody, I have finished part of the exhibit. Specifically, I've finished kind of the exterior, most basic parts of build. I have set up, as I mentioned, this kind of very small backstaging area. I'll kind of put in a little bit of interior, kind of some food bins, you know, some caretaking supplies, maybe some tools that they might use to, you know, do checkups or whatever on our dinosaurs. Although maybe I'll make a building specifically dedicated to that, as well as a small area in which I'm fairly certain these dinosaurs will fit. So they can come in, you know, get food, get some specialized care. And out here, I have finished our walls all the way around, as well as this little custom tree, which I don't remember if I've put in a previous clip or not. In this kind of front area where I have a path coming up from the gardens, you can kind of see out there. I have replaced the solid wall with more fencing, as well as some trapdoors just to make sure nothing can sneak through. That way any visitors on the outside can still look in, but the dinosaurs probably won't be too disturbed or be able to see the visitors quite as well. I do have a couple of things left to do that I think I'm going to do a very small awkward kind of time-lapse of, and that's really just decorate out the area and really finalize it for our dinosaurs. So I'm going to have this pond here. It's becoming nighttime, so let me sleep before I continue. As I was saying, I have that pond down here, and I have our central custom tree. I want to put in some custom bushes, more similar to the ones we have down with our farms, but a little less controlled. I definitely want to bring in some flowers and some other plant life, and I might rebuild some other of these little naturally spawned boulders, put one or two over on this side so they all fit in a little bit better. And then we will place down our dinosaur eggs, which I still have squared away in our dinosaur backpack. So I will take you guys with me and do a little bit of decorating, and then we'll, you know, do the dinosaur thing. Very exciting. So, as you guys can see, I have gone ahead and really fleshed out this exhibit a little bit. I'll do a little tiny walk through my thought process of what I was doing. I won't get too nerdy about it. I don't think anybody really wants to hear that, but I did try to concentrate a lot of the lusher, kind of very succulent, more leafy plants in more shaded areas rather. So, you know, things like ferns, which are usually very shaded plants, elephant ears, which can be shaded, but also more importantly, need a lot more water, so areas that are going to retain more moisture, which is most likely shaded areas. Things like that. Out in the areas that get a lot of sunlight, it's a little bit more sparse. I have some like field flowers growing, a little bit of field grass, and some other taller, more hardy looking flowers, I guess. Down around here at our pond, I did put in a spore blossom to give a little bit of particles, add a little bit of life to the area, and I added in, of course, a bunch of plants, and around here especially, I do have some of the prehistoric plants added by Unusual Prehistory. So I did have to do a little research because I kind of wanted some of the woods, but I have to go and find petrified wood for that, so that's going to be a task for another day. But I've put what we have in for now, which includes these plants, which I didn't actually realize grew in the water, but they're very nice. They kind of look like a little bit of duckweed, I guess. One of our 2 Nilumbites. I don't have very many, so I didn't want to use all of them, so I kind of filled it out with some of the other lily pad plants. And I have some of these... Ooh, I don't know if I want to attempt to pronounce that. Zulaugai? Zulugai? Zulugay? Something like that. Growing up here, and these plants I know I'll be able to replicate very easily since they basically are just like bamboo. I also have a couple of the tiny little flowers sprinkled in there, but I really do think I need to get back into the lab and start making a lot more plants. So, of course, the very last thing we have to do today is put down our dinosaur eggs, and I have decided, since we have a little in the pond here, I'm going to put in some of these Scolomantia eggs. I guess we'll find out if they're too big for that pond. I have plenty more, so I'm not too worried if they suffocate and die. But I'm also only going to be putting 5 of our Codolyrhynchus eggs out, just in case. I don't quite know how big they are. If they're much bigger than I expect, I don't want the entire pen to be super crowded, even though, well, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going to name 2 of each kind of dinosaur, and those 2, they'll be name tagged, you know, they'll always be around. But the non-name tagged ones, well, like I said, we kind of need the drops for from some of these, so we won't get too attached to all of our dinosaurs. For now, let's go ahead and place our fish eggs right in there, and let's bring our Codolyrhynchus eggs a little bit further away just in case they hatch first so they don't trample the others. Oh, and they stack. That's very cute. Alright, the last thing I'm going to need to do that I will be honest, didn't even occur to me until I just thought about mob spawning and trampling these eggs. I'm gonna go in with some carpets, I think I have some on me, and light up this place. But that aside, that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to see our first dinosaurs. I might do a little bit of research and see if these are based on any real dinosaurs, as I know some of these are more fantastical ones, while some of them are real ones. And I'm not positive about our very first one, so I will go and find that out, and I will see you guys next episode. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Oh, hold on, guys, I'm going to turn up the game sounds for just a second and hope you can hear the absolutely horrifying laughter. I don't know if it's a mod pack that adjusted witches or what, but